Hey everybody, and welcome to the Business Growth and Entrepreneur Podcast. I am Bill, the company's expert, and on today's episode, we're going to be addressing common reasons people don't start a business, and this is a continuation of the previous episode where I was already talking about this topic. We're going to do some more examples of this. Now, a while ago, I had put out a question asking people, what's preventing you from starting? What are your fears, ideas, or questions? And I got back a whole bunch of responses, and I wanted to address some of those here. So the first response was from some awesome individual called Mohammed Salahuddin Manzoor, if I'm saying that correctly. And Mohammed says, "Thank you for this great information. I have started my online remote IT services business. One-man show right now, will expand soon. As of now, I'm looking for my first customer. I have reduced cost to 99% just to attract new customers, but no luck now. Can you please guide me further on this? How to get customers? How to get the first customer?" Okay, this is an excellent question, and this is a common reason why people don't really start, at least in the sense that they don't start making money and getting the business rolling. Now, here's the deal. A common mistake is for people to decide what they want to do and then just do it, and then discover that they have problems selling it and wonder what they can do about it. Ideally, when you're starting a business, you would go about that in the opposite way, okay? You would first think about, how can I sell something? And then that will inform you of what you should do, okay? The problem is that not many people think like that. They think instead about what they want to do, and then they just hope that customers will come. Now, for Muhammad, you can usually solve this problem, okay? And I hate to use a lot of sort of management buzzwords and kind of things, but this really is the answer to your question here, how to get your first customers. First of all, reducing the price is not really a great way of getting customers. It's not really that effective, okay? The idea being that if you're offering something of value, people will pay for something that's worth value, okay? It's not like, oh, I need it, but I'm only going to need it if the price is right. That happens less than you would think, especially in starting up and validating a business, okay? In order to do this, you really have to go all the way back to the fundamentals. And the fundamentals that I'm referring to are the 4 P's of marketing, okay? Product, place, price, promotion, I should say. So product, place, price, and promotion. These are the things that you have to have together. And in the vast majority of cases, if you can't sell something, it's because one of those things is not really done correctly, okay? So you have to have the right product. Now, you say you're doing remote IT services. Now, I'm not sure specifically what you're doing, but I would suspect that that's the right product. There are people in the world that do need that, okay? It's not that you're offering something that has no value to anyone. So it seems like your product, as far as I can tell from your comment there, it looks right as far as I can tell, okay? So that's probably not the problem, okay? Place. Now, the question is, where are you looking for customers? How do companies that sell remote IT services, how do they get their customers? Okay, that's the question you should be asking. And because this is a already known thing, okay, remote IT services are something that is established. Everybody knows what it is. You're not inventing a market or inventing an industry here. You need to go after your customers in the same way that existing remote IT services businesses get their customers. So whatever that is, whether it's online advertisement, whether it's industry trade shows, whether it's one-on-one interactions with local businesses. I'm not sure. I'm not in that field. But whatever it is, you need to find out what those are and make sure that you're competing with them and going through those same channels, okay? So that takes care of the place, like the second P of marketing, okay? You're advertising and you're promoting yourself in the right place, okay? Price. Now, your price, if you don't know what it is, and this is a common problem when people are starting out, they don't know like what's a reasonable price for what I'm offering here. Okay. Now, sometimes that will be dictated by your cost structure, but other times you don't really know from the point of view of marketing, like from the customer's perspective, what they are looking to pay, what they consider reasonable, and you don't know that yet. So a great thing to do in your line of work, which is you're doing something that's already established, is to gauge your prices against the prices of your competitors, the existing companies that are in this business, okay? Now, you don't want to be much higher than them, but you don't want to be much lower than them either, because for two reasons. There's a psychological reason, and that is that a lot of times people perceive something as very cheap as being very low quality, okay? And secondly, is that, you want to be able to make a profit doing this. If you can't make a profit doing this, then better to know now than to, say, put in 2 years of your life and all your effort into it, right? It gives you an opportunity to pivot what you're doing to find something else that is profitable, okay? And remember, we are not talking about whether remote IT services are profitable. We're talking about whether you can do remote IT services at a profit. And that's a different proposition, okay? So we've covered product, place, price, and the last one is promotion, okay? Now, how are you getting the message out, getting the word out that you're here and you offer these services, okay? That's the message you need to get out there. And you also want to get out the message that you're a serious alternative, you're a serious option, okay? So the form that takes, okay, that includes the media you go over, okay, whether you're doing online ads or you're doing personal selling or you're doing presence at trade shows or you're doing cold calling or you're doing listing, your company in a directory of some kind, like whatever the channel is to reach the customer, okay, you need to go over the same channel. Then the message, what you're actually saying about yourself, that has to resonate. That has to be in line. And once again, if you don't know what is the most appropriate message, should you advertise that you're the fastest person, you're the cheapest person, you have this competitive edge, there's this special deal or this special aspect of you that should make you attractive to them? Whatever it is, okay, if you don't know what you should say, a great starting point is to sort of mimic what your competitors are doing. If they're selling themselves on a certain point, then you should sell yourself on a similar point, okay? That's a good starting point if you don't know what's the right thing for you to do and you haven't gotten a customer yet, okay? Okay, so that's promotion. You go over the right channel, okay, and then you deliver the right message. So if you get those four things correct, then you should have customers, okay? That's how this works. So I know I'm not providing any hard answers in your case, but these should give you things to think about, things to focus on, things to research, okay? And through that, hopefully, it will inform you of precisely what you need to do to get some serious interest from customers and you get revenue starting to roll in, okay? So hopefully that helps. Special thanks to Muhammad for sending that in. Okay, Waxim says, investment of time and money is preventing me to start. Okay, so that's another common problem, not being able to devote enough time and not being able to devote money to a startup company. Well, as I've talked previously, about this, okay, it is a fallacy to think that you need lots and lots and lots of money to start a company. You really don't. As far as I'm concerned, God has given mankind a gift, and that is social networking, okay? Every single person on the planet has the ability, well, put it this way, every single person on the planet with a phone that's connected to the internet has the ability to broadcast themselves to millions of people, okay? Literally. They have the potential to be able to do that, okay? And it's something that anyone can do. There's nothing preventing you. Now, you may have to know what to do in order to do this, but there's absolutely nothing preventing you from doing this. And that means you can get out whatever message you want. And that means you can validate any business idea. You can put out a message that goes to presumably who your customers would be, your potential market, and say, hello, I'm here. I've got this thing. Is anyone interested? And you gauge the response, okay? That really doesn't take a ton of money to do. That takes zero money, assuming you have an internet connection. Now, in terms of time, it's a well-known thing that a lot of people do what's called a side hustle, which means that they have their own business venture on the side while they work at a day job as their main line. Okay, so you would get a regular job, you work full-time at your regular job, and then maybe in the evenings when you come home or after work, you devote 1 to 2 hours to some kind of side hustle, right? Like a YouTube channel would be, probably the most obvious example, something like that. And for some people, that could turn into like a full-time income or replacement income. But for a lot of people, they like to keep it as a side hustle. So it's something they do on the side. And this is great for a number of reasons. Number one, it doesn't take up all your time, but it still brings in a little bit of money. And this is money that supplements you on the side. Now, it also provides more security because if, let's say, you got laid off from your day job, you would still have an income source, okay? And you could either keep it going or you could try and then turn it into a equivalent of a full-time job where it replaces your income, right? Or you could just keep it as a side hustle while you find another job. So the excuse of, I don't have enough time, obviously it depends what you are trying to do, but that alone is not an excuse that prevents you from starting a business on the side. It's perfectly possible to do that. And I myself have done that many times over the years. Okay, same with money. Money is not an excuse to start a business. It depends what you're trying to do. If you're trying to start, an oil refining business, well, it might be kind of hard to get around the capital intensity of that business. But there are many businesses that you can start that require practically no money, and I would say even no money, just time and an internet-connected device. Okay, so that's what I'd say to Waxime. So hopefully that helps a bit. Okay, it just requires a bit of thought. Okay, there are ways to start that don't require time and don't require money. It's just a matter of figuring them out and pursuing them. Okay, next response. This is from MM. Someone called MM says, what's preventing me from starting? Where do I start? Number one, the present political climate. 2, the lack of sufficient startup capital to cover the first 2 years. 3, inflation causing higher expenses and their unpredictability. 4, technology and marketing, constant change, costs, and market points. 5, employees' salaries to guarantee and the present shortage of people seeking employment. And much more. I want to wait for the storm to pass, but as you know, sometimes the storm doesn't pass. Uncertainty. Okay, now listen, MM, you've listed 5 things here. Listen, the reality is that pick any year in the last 150 years, okay? The political climate is always an issue, depending where you are. Lack of sufficient startup capital is a constant thing that everyone complains about. People were complaining about this 150 years ago. Inflation causing higher expenses. Inflation is a constant thing. I mean, it goes up and it goes down, but I mean, it's always there. It's never going to go away. Technology and marketing are constantly changing. Yes, that is the reality of our world. It is in constant flux. And employee salaries, I buy this one even less because you don't need employees to start a company. You really don't. And if you're going to do it right, you're going to come up with a version of your business that you can start yourself, because that is the way to decrease the risk. Okay, once you start employing people, number one, you have to pay them. That makes it extremely riskier, and also it's self-defeating because nobody cares about your business like you do. And once you hire people to just do sort of manual tasks and things, they'll do the tasks, but they really don't care about your business. Okay, so you really don't want to be employing people any more than you have to when you're starting something from scratch. Okay, I've seen many businesses fold before they get off the ground precisely because of that. The first thing they try and do is they borrow a bunch of money so they can pay employees to do the work for them, and then it never works. They run out of money before they become revenue positive. So that's the problem. But listen, if you're waiting for a world where there's no uncertainty, that will never occur. Okay, now uncertainty can actually work in your favor because it scares off a lot of other competitors and it leaves the coast clear for you to do stuff. So if you can come out with a version of this where you limit the risk to yourself, but yet pursue the opportunity and try and sell something, it can be the thing you're looking for. It can be a real opportunity for you. It works in your favor. Okay, you're talking about political instability and technological instability, technological risk, political risk, financial risk. I mean, these are a constant. Okay, and thousands of businesses are started successfully every day and led to profitability every day, despite these things. Okay, so it's not really a valid reason to shy away from it. Okay. And there are some people in this world who will argue in business schools that entrepreneurship is the occupation, the business of taking risk. Okay, I tend to not argue that. I mean, it's not as risky as some people seem to think it is. But I mean, how risky is it to start a YouTube channel? I like to use that example because we're on YouTube, and I'm sure everyone listening is familiar with YouTube. So it's a great example. Is that risky? You don't have to pay to do it. You risk your time being wasted, and that's pretty much it. And despite political risk, despite all the other types of risk you mentioned, people still lead that to success every day, as with many other types of businesses. Okay, so don't be fooled by this stuff. Don't be scared off. Okay, it's a matter of coming up with a version of it that works for you, where you don't have to bet the farm, you don't have to bet your future livelihood and your current income on this. Okay, you do it on the side, or you do it in such a way that it costs you nothing, essentially, and that way you can take these risks. You can risk failure without risking your livelihood. Okay, and that's the way to do it, because if you risk your livelihood and it fails, you will never try again. That's the reality. For most people, they don't hit a hole in one. It takes several tries for it to work. But when it works, it's like winning the jackpot. Okay? So the key is, I hate this cliched expression, but it's true. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Okay? Whoever stays in this for the long term tends to win, and whoever can only stay in it for the short term tends to lose. Okay, so it's all about minimizing your risk, but yet trying stuff and learning along the way. And after you learn a certain amount of things, you start to win. Okay, so hopefully that helps. You can do this. Okay, don't be scared off. And finally, the last response I'm going to cover in this episode, we have I don't know how to pronounce this. Ctaukus. Kataukus says, fear of losing it all. Starting for me means factory space and machines. A huge investment. I have the money, but not sure if I want to risk it. boils down to fear of my kids not having their futures as secure as the bird in the hand. Listen, Kataukas, you are not alone when you are looking at things this way. You are afraid because to you, there is no half measures. You either go all in and do it properly, or you don't do it at all. Okay, those to you are the only two options. However, I've got news for you. Those are not the only two options. Between those two options, there is an entire kaleidoscope, an entire continuum of versions of your business that are there for you to do that you're not seeing. Okay, instead of factory space and machines, huge investment. Instead of buying all of that, you can lease it, you can rent it, you can go to an existing business and say, look, you have the equipment, okay? You are also not operating 24/7. You have maybe an 8-hour shift at night where the machines are standing idle, okay? I would like to do a timeshare with you. I will pay you a little bit for your inconvenience and for your time, but this will be an income source for you for that period of time when you're not making any money, okay? And I would like to rent your space just for the evening shift. I won't touch anything. And I'd like to run up a couple of prototypes of whatever and see if I can sell them, okay? That's one version of it. There's also the possibility of you thinking of this more in terms of business and marketing instead of purely operations, and saying, look, I'm going to pre-sell my product. So before I invest in any operations, in any equipment, in any machinery, in any shop space, anything like that, I'm going to see if I can pre-sell some of my product and get the money up front. You know, the way you would do it when you walk into a store at the mall. You pay up front and then you're allowed to walk out of the store with your item, right? If you get that, you have cash in hand. So you're not taking a lot of risk when you then use that cash to produce the product that you just sold, okay? These are just two examples I'm thinking of right off the top of my head as I'm recording this show live, okay? There are many more other options, okay, that you can do. I mean, you can go to equipment sales and liquidation sales and bank sales where they are liquidating businesses and get the equipment for like literally zero. You know what I'm saying? If you can haul it away, it's yours kind of thing. That exists, and maybe that exists in your location, but it does exist. You know, maybe there's alternatives to some of these machines. Instead of buying, machines, maybe you can 3D print stuff. I mean, there's many things to explore here, okay? And it's not that that's what your business is going to be. It's just the thing to get the business off the ground for the first month or two so that money starts coming in, and then you can do it properly, okay? Then you're not risking your life savings to be able to do it, right? You're taking the money from products that you're selling and doing this, or you're reducing drastically the amount that you would have to pay to start it up, your startup capital, okay? So it's about exercising your brain. It's about thinking up some of those other alternatives. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say that those are not ideal. And I agree with you. They're not ideal. But it's not what your business is going to be. It's just to get it off the ground. Okay? So hopefully that's food for thought for Kataukas and everyone else that's listening. I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for tuning in to this podcast. You guys are awesome. And I just want to draw attention to the fact that I have a course called the $100 MBA. And if you're thinking of starting a business, the best way to succeed in business is to know business. Okay? And as one option, that's the best bang for the buck of any of the options that I know of out there, is I have this course called the $100 MBA. I have an MBA myself, a Master's of Business Administration. This teaches you everything you would learn in a 2-year university program, okay, for $100. It's a self-study thing. You get the textbooks, you learn it all yourself to the depth you want. You learn only what you're interested in, and That way you are pre-warned, pre-armed with how to succeed in business because you understand business and you know what's possible. And this is a great tool to help would-be entrepreneurs actually succeed. Okay, so if you're interested, you can follow the link in the description box of this video. Thank you so much for listening. You guys are all awesome, and I hope to see you on the next episode. Take care.